closing song, holy buckets.
You would think that something as big as receiving, there'd be something. There'd be like a lot of something. You look up giving, and there's like 1,010 songs, 1,010 skits, 1,010 everything. But on the receiving end, it's like it's suddenly taboo to accept or to receive, and
It's a little backwards.
it is. And just like this lady, we're programmed to dismiss, to not receive. When somebody says, "Oh, you look great today." Oh, no, not this whole thing. Oh, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. And we dismiss away even a compliment. We dismiss away when these good things are trying to come to us, or we set these pre-programmed things that say, it can only come in this way, or I need to bargain with God, I need to bargain with the universe in order to have these things. Like, I have to have a reason. I have to receive so that I can give. I have to receive so that I can help. I have to receive so that I can do these things. And I really find that's not the case. And I feel like this is a part of our spiritual consciousness that's missing. When my daughter wants something, and right now she's having a hard time being able to express what that is because she hasn't yet really mastered language or a body, but when she reaches the point that she's able to tell me, "Daddy, I want a cookie," I have no desire to say, "Well, why do you want the cookie? What are you going to do with the cookie? What is the preconceived notions about this cookie?" It's simply, you want a cookie, there you go. Now, we've read and we watched the movie The Secret, most of us many times over the last several years, and they talk about manifesting being like having this catalog of the universe and being able to pick out the things that you want, which is what our vision board workshop is on Saturday, is to look at not only the things, but also the experiences: love, health, friendship, spirituality, spiritual gifts, material possessions, the ability to effortlessly go through life. If this is the catalog, and whatever we pick out, we manifest, we bring to ourselves. Imagine if God were to send these things UPS, signature required. And I came home and there were these boxes, and there was the UPS guy saying, "Hey, Scott, I've got these deliveries for you. I need you to sign here." I went, "No, I'm fine." At some point, I would have just these boxes stacked in my yard, or watch them get delivered and watch them go right back to the UPS truck and back out to the universe, because I didn't accept it. But I didn't just say, "Okay, thanks. Thank you," and then go enjoy it. It's not about what we deserve or what we've earned or what we're going to do with it. Sometimes it's okay to want something just to want it. You put something on your vision board, "I would love to have this experience. I would love to have this thing," whatever this thing is, internal or external. When I think about my Christmas in that garage, I've always wanted that garage. It's not been on every, you can go look at my vision board right now, it's been on every vision board I've ever had, black and white checkerboard floor. When Mary did it for me, I didn't attach any strings to it. "Oh, well, you know, honey, blah, 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 blah." I simply said, "Wow, thank you. I feel really, really special." And now, I'll spend a lot of time throughout the course of the day going out in the garage and just looking around like, holy wow. I've thought about this forever, and now I have it, and this is so cool, and this is so sweet, and she loved me so much, and I remember when this part and that part, and blah, 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 and I just absolutely love it. Now, from that standpoint, part of the reason that I really wanted to focus on acceptance as being a new year, people having New Year's resolutions and new goals for the new year. This year is going to be my year. This year I want this thing and this thing and this thing. And again, we're not talking about just tangible items. I want quality friendships that I can't wait to get a phone call from this person, and they can't wait to hear from me, and we talk daily, and it is so rewarding. I want my body to work the way I want it to work and feel the way I want to feel. I want my spirituality and my connection to God to totally open up, and I want this intuition to really flow wild. I want this gift of healing to be even more profound. in addition to those things, it's okay to say, and I want this car or that house, or that my bills are paid without sweating it. It's okay to want it, just to want it. Just to have the experience of having it. Why? For two things. One, if I have abundantly myself, then it is so easy to mirror the Creator by being abundantly generous to everybody that I come in contact with. I love, love, love when I go to like like the Cocoa Village Art Festival or those things, and you see these folks who have their whole passion laid out on this table. And whether it's something they're selling or something they're creating, it's something they're just passionate about. And when I feel abundant, then it's really easy to take the time to look at that person's passion. Wow, that's amazing. And I'd like one of these and one of those and two of these and three of that. And they go, wow, that's my biggest sale of the day. That just paid for my booth. That just restored my faith, and I'm doing the right thing, and I'm following my calling, and it means so much more than just the exchange of energy that's going on the table. It has to do with that feeling that I'm in the right place, doing the right thing, and then it's easy for them, as they're now feeling abundant, their booth rent is covered, and they've made some profit, and blah, 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 for them to then say, you know, I've been wanting lemonade all day, but until my booth was paid for, I wasn't going to give myself permission to go get that lemonade. Now I'm going to go get that lemonade. The lemonade guy is now having a better day also, and it just continues and continues. So on one hand, it's easier to give when we have. The only way we have is to accept what's already overwhelmingly on its way to us. The other part is that that's a give a man a fish technique. I have, so I will give to you, and you can eat today. But if you want to eat tomorrow, you got to come back and I got to give you more. Or you got to find somebody else to give you more and give you more and give you more. Which always has you in this converse perspective of lack, because you're always needing something. The other side of this is to say, okay, if all of this is true, God loves me this much, and God wants me to have all of these amazing experiences, and these tools of the universe, these tools of metaphysics really work, and I can look around in my life and I can see that they work, then here's the fish for today, but let me teach you how to cast your net. Let me teach you how to put your pole in the water. Let me teach you how to get more fish than you can ever eat just by getting a relationship with God. Just by embracing this not only mindset or belief system, but way of living, way of life. All of it strengthens that relationship with God. Now, most of us were raised with the other side of the teeter-totter, which was the lack, I don't have, and I don't have. And right at the 11th hour when I really, really needed it, this miracle showed up. And that brought me closer to God. And that is one way to get closer to God, and it's not a bad thing. A lot of drama, but it's not a bad thing. Been there. Yesterday. No, just kidding. But the other side of it is like that garage feeling, where you walk into your life, you open up your eyes, you look around your life, you go, wow, thank you, God, so much for all that you've given me. And not just from a gratitude standpoint, but from a real acceptance, happy, woohoo standpoint. Now, most of us, when we look at the receiving door, when we look at the acceptance part, politeness says, no, I'm fine, thank you. Even though, like the lady in the video, it's not what we really want. And by giving ourselves permission to have that thing we really want, it opened up so much more than just bath scrubs and a sauna. She got to have an experience, she got to enjoy, this lady got to give, she got to receive, they got to have a ball. All of that would have been denied. But the other part is that in the back of our minds, we often find the need to either justify something or see that there would be strings attached. And we all have different ceilings, internal ceilings, and we set that barometer for what our comfort zone is. If I say, I have $1, who wants it? First one raise their hand and you get the $1. And I say, okay, I got $10, who wants that? Okay? All right. $100 bill. At $1,000. 10 grand. $100,000. Who wants my house? I'm moving out tomorrow. Even though some folks raised their hand, the feeling is you really embraced, what if Tomorrow, Mary and I walked out of the house, handed you the keys. And you're standing in here going, I thought they were kidding. Right? But the next part comes, what does this mean? What does this mean? I didn't earn it. I didn't do something. What am I supposed to do with it now? I could turn it into a halfway house, and I could rent out these rooms to people who needed it, and I could do this and I could do that in order to be a good steward of it, because on some level I don't feel like I deserved it. So I need to earn my way into having it. As opposed to when we ask for things, when we ask for experiences, and we remove the ceiling of it can only be to this degree or that degree, and remove the strings that goes along with it, because the strings are only there if we attach our side. I've known some pretty amazing people in this lifetime who this is the only single spiritual principle they ever mastered, was acceptance. And darn are they good at it. I mean, amazingly good at it. Not necessarily nice people, not necessarily deserving, not necessarily following the path and doing all these, but really good at accepting without strings. Last night, Mary and I were talking about her ex-husband, who is really good at accepting. That dude, I tell you, you can hand that dude a gold break and go, cool, thanks. Hey, wait, I've got strings on it. Oh, I didn't agree with strings, man, I'm good. Thanks, though, I'm going to go spend it. Just amazingly good at receiving. Amazingly good. And I look at those things and I say, I want to be a better receiver. I want to work on my ability to accept all of these miracles and all of these blessings that are on their way to me. What would make me even happier is to do it with all of you, is to do it with the people that I love. Mary and I used to have this intenders group that met once a month for a couple of years, and it was really rocking, because one day you would say, this month I intend, ... and the following month you would say, this is how my intention worked out. And for the following month I intend, ... And so we could watch cause and effect, and we could watch people's acceptance open up of things that they didn't think were possible. How many things in your life have you received that you didn't think was possible? Probably a lot. Because again, it's not just stuff. It's a compliment, it's a smile, it's a spiritual gift opening up, it's friendship, it's love, it's purpose, it's enjoyment, it's finances, all of it. So this week, when you're giving some thought as to what you might want on your vision board on Saturday at 6 o'clock, think about not just this thing that's out here, this thing that you're ordering from the catalog of the universe, but also think about it as it's being delivered by the UPS man, the spiritual UPS man saying, sign here. That you willingly accept. Willingly accept. Nobody can accept anything for us. And as soon as we accept it, we simply make it ours. Which is why I made that first quote, because I couldn't find anybody else who said it. But to accept something is to make it mine. Here is this award, and this award is given to Judy. Now, this award is still this award until Judy comes up and accepts it. Once Judy accepts, thank you. I happily accept this award. Now it's Judy's award. It's no longer my award. It's no longer an award of this organization. She's accepted it. In political circles, it's the nominee is until I accept my party's nomination for whatever. As soon as I've accepted it, now it's mine, now I move forward. What things in your life do you want more of? If God is absolutely abundant and wants to give beyond our expectation, and we want to have this experience beyond our expectation, the bottleneck between the two is the acceptance, is the receiving. That simply says, thank you. Thank you. But beyond thank you is the feeling of being really, really excited. The other day, Pop brought over a toy box that he handmade for Trinity that will also at some point as she gets older, be her hope chest and her this, that, and the old traditional way. And it's beautiful. I invite everybody after the service, go into Trinity's room and look at it. It is beautiful. The amount of time, the amount of planning, the amount of love, the amount of work, of effort that went into that, she will feel her entire life. She's so young and so innocent that she hasn't realized, she hasn't been programmed into her head that receiving has any negative connotation to it whatsoever. And at whatever point she is able to comprehend accepting, and this is mine because Grandpa made it for me, will simply be thank you. That is so cool. That's so cool. Similar feeling that I have with my garage. Similar feeling that I have every Sunday morning when my friends, when my family show up and we get to celebrate things together. When I get to hear Darcy sing, or Mary's meditation, or Papa beating a drum, or whatever's going on, the whole thing that we all bring together, I love it. Love it. And when it's first brought to me, hey Scott, you need to go do this thing. I'm like, oh no, I'm not signing. I don't accept. Only if ... happens will I accept. And God went, all right, watch this. Hold my finger. Boom, it happened. All right, well then let's go do it. But I ask you this week to look at not only the receiving part, but also the parameters that you've put around the receiving part. I want this thing, but it can only come in this way. But this can only come in this way. Last night I was joking with Mary and I said, you know, it's amazing how goofy the preconceived notions of stuff we put on it are. If somebody comes up to me and says, and a dude comes up to me and says, man, you got some pretty cool hair. First thing I'm doing is looking at dude's head. If he's got more hair than I do, I'm not accepting that compliment because he's probably joking at me. But if he has less hair than I do, well, then I'll probably accept that compliment. Now, how silly is it to automatically predetermine that whatever percent of people on the planet can't give me that compliment, I won't accept it because my own stuff. Only people fitting this criteria will I accept it as they must really mean it, so I'll accept that compliment. That's goofy. That's just straight goofy. One of the things that we treasure is a little picture that Judy made for us that has rainbows and unicorns on it. Because when Mary and I are in this space of avid acceptance of miracles, we refer to it as rainbows and unicorns. And these things are very tangible, but very outside of the norm of how stuff normally happens. When we first moved to Florida, we were staying with the folks for the first few months, and we're getting a feel for Florida, where we wanted to live, what we wanted to do. We're out house hunting and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's coming up on Christmas. And I said, well, Mom says, well, you guys are going to be with us another year? We're really excited, blah, blah, blah. Because we just moved down in August, and they kind of dug having us there, and we kind of dug being there. And I said, no, Mom, I told you when we moved down, we'd be here till, you know, the first of the year. She's like, dude, that's like 9 days away, the first of the year. Like, you haven't even found a house yet. You don't even have financing. You don't even have a pre-approved mortgage. And sometimes, you know, like our friends, like they pat us on our little head, like, I'm glad you believe that, but in the real world, ... And Mary and I, in turn, kind of patted her on her head and said, well, I know, but in the land of rainbows and unicorns, stuff happens. God's great, amazing things happen. She goes, yeah, okay, I believe that too, but in the meantime, let's make plans for January and February and March of you being in the house. And I had this very specific thing that I don't like banks, so I didn't want to go through a bank and an institution because I'd seen banks sell mortgages to other banks, and then you decided to go with this bank because you like this bank, and then the bank sells a mortgage, now it's with this bank that you don't like, but you got to deal with them because they own your mortgage, and I didn't like any of that. And so I said, my goodness, I just want somebody to write a check for my house. Yeah, that's cute, honey. And so we had a meeting with a mortgage broker to go get pre-qualified for whatever. And we're getting all dressed and ready to go. And a fella called and said, yeah, my neighbor had a reading with you, and I think that I'd like a reading too. Can you come out to the house? Well, in my own world, I don't do house calls. We'll meet somewhere, we'll do blah, blah, blah. And what came out of my mouth was, sure. He said, cool, can you be here about 2? And I had a meeting with a mortgage guy at 3. What fell in my mouth was, yep. There's my wife getting ready to go to this appointment with this mortgage broker. And there's Scott going, yeah, I guess I'm not doing that. I got a reading over here on this place to go meet with some dude I don't know. Okay, Scott, but you know, we kind of have this mortgage appointment thing. We kind of need a house. In order to get a house, we kind of need a mortgage and get an appointment. But at the same time, she's been with me long enough to know, like, follow his crazy, because God's normally directing it. And so we cruise out to this place and we meet this dude, and an hour later, you know, the reading's done. It was rocking. It was a way cool thing. I get done. I'm going back out front where Mary's picking me up, and I see the guy's neighbor who I'd done a reading for, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, the neighbor says, hey, Scott, have you found that house? I know you were out house hunting last time we did a session. Did you ever find your house? I said, no, not yet. He said, well, did you lock down the financing yet? I said, no, I meant to do that this afternoon. I had this meeting with this mortgage guy, but blah, blah, blah. And dude calls. I went over to meet with dude instead. Dude looks in my head. Known me all of an hour and 15 minutes. Says, I think that you're the answer to my prayer. I said, how so? He said, well, I got a really good feeling about you. I've been taking a beating in the market, and the banks aren't paying hardly anything on interest right now. And I just had a real estate deal fall through, so I got a little extra cash laying around. I'd love to write a check for your house if you'd give me X% interest on paying it back. I went, really? Rainbow unicorns, how about that? Hi. So we come back home, and we're in this disbelief of, did that really just happen? We just met this dude who's going to write a check for our house? Like, are we on an after-school special? Was there a hidden camera somewhere? Are we getting punked? You know what's going on? And we've been out looking at house after house after house, and we hadn't found the house. And, you know, again, we're coming up on pretty much Christmas time at this point. And so Mary and I said, well, let's use the tools we have. Instead of going out looking at houses, let's go find our home. A simple change in language. Later that afternoon, we walked in that front door. Walked around, looked around, went, wow, that's it. That's it. Called the dude up who was going to write the check, and he came over and looked at it and said, yeah, good house, let's do it. So I called the dude up who's got the house listing, and again, the other houses that we looked at were this much paperwork and initial every page and all these crazy things that I didn't like doing because I'm just a good old boy from South Dakota. So I called the dude up who had the listing, and I said, Terry, they want to make an offer on the house. You're asking this much, and I'll offer that much, and you fix the chipping. And he says, well, let me call the doc who owns it. Call you back. That was the offer. Calls him back 20 minutes later, says, okay, make the deal. We'll accept your price, but you fix the chimney. All right, fair enough. Well, when do you want to buy the house? I said, I don't know. That was Tuesday. He goes, all right, let's do it. Now, Tuesday was like the 27th. So we meet down at the title office over here in Merritt Island, and one guy shows up with a title, and one guy shows up with a check, and one guy shows up with keys, and we signed some papers. They hand us the keys, hand us 10 grand, pat us on our head, and said, go enjoy your house. And on the 29th of December, we pretty much moved in, but the heat wasn't turned on yet. And so we stayed at Mom's for those extra couple days until the first of the year. And all that happened in 10 days because we were willing to accept. We knew what we wanted. We were willing to allow it to come in without preconceived notions. We allowed miracles to happen, and we did it without strings attached. We didn't allow ourselves to psych ourselves out by all of the things that say, could that really happen? Could this, oh, that's too good to be true. That's blah, blah. Oh, we're going to be in this guy's debt forever. We're going to blah. None of that. Just allow the miracle. So as you're creating your vision board in your mind, leading up to Saturday when you create it in real, think about the accepting, the receiving of what you want. For no other reason than you want it. And that's okay. It's like that Wayne Dyer quote says, you're divine enough to ask, and you're important enough to receive.